can we simplify this trig ratio using the compound angles? So the most important thing is to break that 75 into special angles. So now what you're going to do is that look at the special angles that we have: 30, 45 degrees, 60 degrees. These are my special angles. You can keep on adding them. 90, right? So 0, 90, and so on. So now when I look at this 75, I can break it into 30 plus 45. I can add these two guys to get 75. So this tells you that we can write this as the sine of, we start with the bigger number, which is 45, we add 30 degrees. So now what is the formula for, what is the compound for sine? So the compound for sine is going to be the sine of, this will be the sine alpha minus beta. Right, so this is equals to the sine alpha, the cos beta. The sine remains the same. We're going to add the cos of alpha, the sine beta. Okay, so when I look at this, this will be my alpha, this will be my beta. So my alpha is 45. So where there's alpha, we put 45, and where there's beta, we're going to put 30. So let's work on that. What is this equal to? This will be the sine of alpha, which is 45 degrees, then which is multiplied by the cos of beta, which is the cos of 30 degrees. Then we're going to add the cos of that alpha and the sine of that beta. This is easy. Where there's alpha, we put 45, and where there's beta, we put 30. So now I'm going to need my special angle triangles, the triangles that we use to find our special angles. So first thing first, I need the one that has 45. So look at this. If that angle is 45, both of these will be 45. If this angle is 90, both of those angles will be 45. So we said that this one is root 2, 1. It's always like this. It doesn't change. And the other angle, the other triangle that can give us 30 is this one, where we have this as 60 and we have that as 30. It's always like this, né? So this is 1 and the opposite is root 3 and this will be 2. So let's use this triangle to substitute in the sine 45. Let's start with the sine 45. So I'm just gonna use the SOHCAHTOA and say that sine is opposite all over hypotenuse, but we need to focus on the one that is the angle 45. So if this is my angle, sine its opposite, which is 1, over hypotenuse, which is root 2. Then close this. Then let's find the cos 30. So if this is my angle, cos is adjacent. The angle that is adjacent here, it's going to be the root 3. So this will be root 3 over hypotenuse, which is 2. Then we add the cos 45. So this is my 45. Cos is adjacent. If this is my adjacent, which one is, if this is 45, which one is the adjacent? 1. So this will be 1 over, this is my adjacent over hypotenuse. So this will be 1 over root 2. I hope this makes sense. Close the bracket, then let's work on the sine 30. So sine 30, this is my sine, it's opposite, the side that is opposite to that angle is 1 all over hypotenuse. So this will just be 1 over 2. Right, so when I have it like this, I can row multiply. Remember what we talked about on the previous example? We row multiply this times that, and we multiply this with that. So now, what do we have on top and what do we have on bottom? So this will be 1 times root 3 is just the root of 3, and 2 times root 2, that will be 2 root 2. We need to add these two. 1 times 1 is 1 over 2 root 2. Look at this. The denominators are the same. We can add the numerators and divide that by that 2 root 2. So you can leave your answer like this, or you can rationalize. So if you need to rationalize, this is how you can rationalize your answer. Let's say you want to rationalize. You're going to multiply the top and the bottom part by that root 2, because we are rationalizing the denominator. So this will be root 2 over root 2. You multiply top and bottom by that one. So now what do you get? You need to multiply everything inside the bracket by that root 2 on top. This will give us 2 root 3 plus root 2. Because when we say you rationalize, it's like we are removing what? The root on the denominator. Then you do the same, this times that 2, and then this times that root 2. So this will give us 2 root 2. Then, oh, I'm sorry, this is a term. Né? I see now, this is a term. So we just have to multiply this by that term. So we're going to say 2 times 2 root 2 times root 2, which will give us, okay, this is like saying 2 root 2. We multiply that by root 2. So the roots will cancel, will be left with what? Will be left with 2 times this times that is just 2. 2 times 2, it's 4. So this will be over 4. I hope you guys understand what is going on here. And this is how you rationalize the denominator. So I'm going to have this over 4. So it's either you can leave your answer like that, or you can rationalize and put it in that form. And that's it for this problem.